Hello and welcome to part 2 of this intimate moment with Poppy, where she shares her thoughts about stuff that she would not normally share with you, and you can look at the nice pictures which are mostly coming out okay, I think, for filming off a screen, which is not ideal. Yeah, because the light keeps adjusting itself and sometimes you get the psychedelic kind of patterns. Anyway, I hope it's working out alright. I have a few little noties to just work from here. I wanted to talk about why you don't hear from your loved ones that have passed away immediately. Now, maybe some of you have. There's no hard and fast rules here. I'm just talking personally. Of course, this is my experience. That's Gary, by the way, being arty. I'm just talking about my past experience and present experience, and I don't get signs or comfort from my deceased loved ones for quite a long time. Now, I get signs beforehand. If you remember the video I was talking about Gary, I talked about the fact that I was getting these very strong bursts of jasmine being pushed into my face almost for a couple of weeks before he passed, and I thought that was a good sign, but actually it was not. It was good in a way that it was reminding me that the unseen is there, that there are other worlds than this, that somebody is kind of trying to tell me something that is not physical. But it didn't give me the right cue, because I thought, oh, this is because something good is going to happen, because I'm going to be moving and everything's going to be better, nice jasmine. But it wasn't. It was a sign that Gary was going to pass. So yeah, there was that. And then on the morning he passed away, I had another kind of weird vision just as I opened my eyes of a small boy that looked like him when he was a child, wearing a large badge with his middle name on it, saying, so his middle name is going to help you. And I opened my eyes and I thought, he's going to help me? That's weird. And then immediately I put my phone on and sent him a text, because he was meant to be going to a funeral that morning and I didn't want him to be late. And of course he'd already passed away by that point. So I don't know what the little message about the little boy with the badge was, but that's all there's been. Okay, there's been nothing else except for a couple of strange little pinging noises. I'm not sure whether that's an attempt to attract my attention or what. Maybe not. Anyway, I'm just theorising here why they don't communicate straight away, because there is no time where they are. Either they've completely disappeared and gone back into the all that is, and that's one of Gary's many theories, that that's what they've done, that he might just be part of all that is, you know, as Nick Drake said, now we rise and we are everywhere. He might have just gone back into the everything. So why would he communicate? However, if he does still exist as an eternal essence, then there is no time where he is. I'm really envious of him, because he now knows everything. He's everywhere. He knows everything. There is no time. We used to talk about this all the time, how wonderful it would be when we got there and we would just know. You know, we spent hours and hours and hours. I miss him desperately, because he was the only person on earth I could talk to like this. He had such an innate intelligence, a deep spiritual intelligence, nothing to do with academia or anything. He was just very, very connected, and we could have this conversation, and now we can't. And he's there, somewhere, and he can't communicate with me, and I can't communicate with him. And that's just terrible, and I miss that so badly. It's like being disconnected from my other, well, it's just awful. So he's fine, I'm not fine. He could be in shock. He might not have been expecting to go, and he might be in shock. He might be readjusting. Yeah, it's who knows. I don't know why they don't. What I do know is that when my parents passed away, I kept some scribbly notes. I can't write very well because of my hands. I can't type very well because of my hands and my neck and my back. So I just keep scribbly notes. And thankfully I did. When my parents passed away, it took them a whole year to even give me a dream with a message in it, a whole year. And then I started to get more things. Not very many, but I did. Enough to give me a sense that they were there and they hadn't disappeared into nothingness. But it took a year, and I'm so glad I wrote that down. So, it's 5 weeks and I haven't had anything at all. And there are, the signs that you tend to get are really powerful dreams, not just like random silly dreams, but dreams with a message that you wake up and you've been talking to somebody, or you hear things that shouldn't be there, you smell things that shouldn't be there, objects that shouldn't be there move about or turn up. You might receive an inner knowing, a bit of guidance. All of these things have happened to me. I've actually even seen people's relatives that have passed away, although I didn't know it at the time. I saw Gary's dad sitting in his flat when I went round there. For one of the first times I went round there, I saw this man sitting in a chair. I knew he wasn't really there, but I knew he was meant to be there, if you know what I mean. It was one of those kind of weird moments. And he was very clear, very visible and very happy. And it turns out that I described him. I saw a photograph of him later on. It was his dad. And he was just happy that Gary had met somebody to look after him. And that happened another time with somebody else. I have had that happen, but I've never actually seen any of my own beloved passed on people, just other people. So, yeah. Sometimes other people give you messages that they may have had for you. Sometimes you get strange anomalies happening, like with electronics. Had quite a few of those. It's just like we get very impatient, don't we? I'm very, 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 very impatient because we are time bound in this reality. We are completely limited by our concept of time. And to me, 5 weeks is far too long, and I want to know now where he is, what he's doing, and if he's okay. And can I go there soon too? Because this is really quite tedious being here, and I want to be with him, that man there. Yes, wherever he is. Whether he wants to be with me now is another matter. I don't know. He might have met his own soul group or his deceased relatives, and he might have gone off, or he might be anywhere. He might be in any level of existence. I just don't know, and that's what does my head in, because he was the person I talked to about all this, and now I can't talk to anybody, and that makes me feel more lonely than anything, because I need that deep connection with somebody, and he was my deep connection. Because I don't want to talk about trivia. I want to talk about the things that matter. That's why we're here. Why are we here? What are we doing here? What's this all about? What happens afterwards? What's the nature of reality? I can't talk about any of this stuff now because he's gone. It's just like a double bereavement, because not only is he physically gone and I can't see him and be with him, I can't talk to him. It's really terrible. Anyway, what was I going to share with you? I think I might have already done this. Yeah, I think I might have already done this. First of all, I'll do something I haven't already done. To me, then, I've been thinking about it, and it's like, yeah, so you leave this reality, poof, there you are, gone. You leave your body behind and you're off somewhere else, or nowhere else, I don't know, but anyway, you are no longer here. So it is the equivalent of suddenly being transported to the middle of Africa when the person that you love, you've left behind, is in Brazil or Australia. And we're talking about a situation where there is no email, there is no telephone, there is no telegram, there is no letter writing, there is nothing, there is no means of communication. So one of you is on one side of the world and the other one is on the other. And you cannot shout to each other, you cannot be heard, you cannot hear each other, you cannot see each other. It's like you don't exist anymore. But you do. You just can't see each other or hear each other anymore. You just have to have faith that they're still there, even though they're out of contact. So that's one thing that's come into my head. The other one, I think I might have already told you, but I'm going to go through it again. My mum gave me this a year after she passed away. She gave me this really powerful image. It was sort of a dream and sort of not a dream, but she showed me an old-fashioned train. And she said, the reason I can't talk to you is because it's like being on this old-fashioned train. Once you're on a carriage, which is your life, you are on a carriage on an old-fashioned train. There are no connecting doors between the carriages. None. You can't slide the doors open, you can't go down a corridor. Once you're on a carriage, you can't communicate with the passengers in the other carriages. It's not possible. The only way of doing that is by leaving the train, and when you leave the train by the door, you're actually leaving your body. So, people that have a near-death experience, they actually open the door of the carriage and they step onto the platform for a bit. But they're not actually completely severed from their body because they've had a near-death experience and not a death experience. So they're still connected, and then they're able to get back onto the carriage again and carry on with their life. But while they're on the platform, they might get to see and hear and experience all sorts of things, because there is no time on the platform. The platform is out of time. The carriages are in our time. The platform is out of time, if you see what I mean. But you can't, while you're in this life here, you can't move between the carriages. So it is, like, again, a situation. My mum also showed me herself doing this. She showed me myself behind a pane of glass, and she was outside in the street with a mobile phone. Now, she did not use a mobile phone to text because she couldn't do it. But in this vision, she was trying to text me in the street, and I could see her, and she was looking up. She was looking at the phone, and I was banging on the window and trying to attract her attention, but she couldn't hear me. She couldn't hear me and she couldn't see me because she was looking at the phone trying to communicate with me. And eventually she said, "Oh God, I can't do this." And at that point she showed me the train and how impossible it was, because I'm on one carriage and she's left the train. I hope that makes sense. It's just an analogy. It's a theory. I'm not saying that's how it is, but that's what she gave me, and I think it works pretty well to explain why we can't do it. And, you know, how does it all work? Yeah, I'm left with all this on my own now. For 20 years I had someone I could bat this back and forward with and really do a deep dive into it. Why? What is it? Do we keep coming back? Do our lives go round and round and round? Do we get off the wheel? Are we continually in a learning loop? You know, the same lives over and over until we get it right, or try to, because we can never get it perfect. Or do we move on to other levels of existence? Or do we move back into the oneness? Do we take all our experience and go back into the all that is, into the oneness of being, and take all that understanding into the great all that is? I think there are levels. I think maybe we move into that, but when we first pass, then people having near-death experiences don't, although they're not dead, some of them have spent quite, you can't say time, physical time, they've been dead for quite a while. But in terms of their experience in the near-death experience, they seem to have been gone for ages, doing all sorts of things. So I think there are levels. I think we have kind of staging posts along the way until we kind of acclimatise to being out of the body experience. And that could take what we perceive here as a whole year, or who knows how long, you know. Again, you may have had an experience straight away. I can't say. I'm just telling you what I've experienced, and I'm just trying to work it through because I haven't got Gary to talk to about it. I'm hoping this will be of interest to somebody. I'm hoping that you feel like talking about this, because what's more important? What is more important than that, you know? It's just, to me, it's just awful because, yeah, Gary's in this place, what I consider this place of light and colour and sound and infinite creativity and acceptance and just mind-blowing beauty and just the place of empathy. And I'm in this dense, isolated, limited realm, and I really want to go home. I want to go home to that place beyond, but, you know, maybe there's more to do. It's like my friend getting the letter from Roger Dean. He should have stuck around a little bit longer, but, you know, we'll see. We shall see. I don't know what's going to happen at the moment. I just feel more alone because there's nobody left. Robin Williams said something like this. It's like, yeah, you can be on your own and feel lonely, but you can feel more lonely with people that don't get you, that don't understand you. So he didn't actually say that. It's a massive paraphrase, but it was along those lines. There's nobody left. There's nobody left that I know that I can talk to about this at all. So yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to say for that. I hope you're not going to take that as anything too grim. It's not meant to be grim. I'm just talking through it because this is life. This is life experience. This is what happens. And for someone like me, who has spent their whole adult life and part of their childhood too, searching and wondering and questioning and experiencing and just basing their whole, not believing, not having faith even. I don't believe in anything rigid. I just I go with experience, and my experiences have told me and shown me so much that there are more worlds than this, and this is just a temporary experience. But really, I've had enough of it. It really is too much. That's up to me what I intend to do about it. It might be too soon for me to make any kind of decision about anything at all. At least I'm still standing. I have not given up and put my head under the duvet. I am trying to do something, and I'm also trying to communicate something that will be of worth somewhere along the line. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to read a poem. Part 3 will be a poem that I wrote for my parents' eulogy. Not only did I do Gary's eulogy completely on my own, I also did my parents' eulogy, my parents' double funeral on my own. And I'm really proud of those things, you know. Very, very proud, because those are the things that I forced myself to do because I am not a public speaker. I was deep in grief. For my parents, my mum did not want me to go to pieces. She wanted me to be dignified, and I did that for her, which was the hardest thing. And I find doing things for others I can do that. What I can't seem to do anymore is do it for myself, because I have no motivation anymore. That's not good, is it? Anyway, don't panic. I'm trying not to. So I hope you've enjoyed the pictures. You can look at them again for a bit. I'm just going to read you a poem, and then that'll be it for this series of videos, I think. And we shall see what happens next. I'm also going to upload the other 2 videos, the surprise one and the Empress Mother Nature one from the Wild Spirit deck. So there will be something that is not just me bearing soul in such a painful fashion. Anyway, okay. Don't worry about any of this. I am just getting it out, I think. Probably shouldn't. I've just never been that kind of person that wants to. It wasn't meant to be about me, but somehow it's ended up being about me, and so I've got to go with that. And hopefully the work will come back into prominence, and I will fade back into the distance where I should be. But for now, it is what it is, innit? So, love you, and please be kind. Okay, be kind to me and to anybody else that you see suffering, because we are each other, and we have to remember that, you know. Don't be afraid of somebody's pain. The end. Anyway, bye bye.